were investigating the new cemetery. This was the same night that we had the ancestors of the town with us, and I was doing an EVP session and in the new cemetery close to the river. And when I played the EVP for Linda and the archaeologist at Cahaba, they all just kind of stood and cried along with me, because there on the EVP is a recording of a Southern black gentleman talking about the water is black. And it's unmistakable. It is probably one of the coolest EVPs I've ever gotten in my life. But it lends credence to all these stories that have been passed down for over 100 years now about this gentleman by the name of Gatson, who took care of this young man, in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, I remember you had told me that before, and I did in a book. We went over to Barnes and Nobles one time, and I had found it in a book and kind of read a little bit about him, and that's pretty amazing, actually. And that getting an EVP like that, a Class A, if you will, that's just awesome. I mean, I always love listening to those EVPs like that. Are just unmistakable.
Yeah, this was so clear, Stan. It was like you and I sitting here talking. I mean, there was no doctoring it up. There was no running it through a filter. It was nice, clear, neat, just a beautiful, and I mean, it was unmistakable sound of a black gentleman. I mean, it had that deep, raspy voice. I mean, the classic, voice that you would see on TV of a Southern black gentleman.
Huh. Yeah, wow. When we played it for Linda, I thought she was gonna fall over dead.
Wow.
I mean, she just literally she gasped for air, and she just sat there for a minute, and then she just started bawling.
She had never put much stock in the paranormal before we started providing evidence for her. And once we played that first EVP, that was enough to kind of put her over into our area and go, there's something more than what we know is out there.
Right. And the ability and something that she experienced of actually making a contact or listening to a contact that was made from that era that they're actually doing the archaeology for. And,
right.
That to me, that's just amazing. And that just kind of makes my hair stand up, that occurred because, these guys, these archaeologists and guys and ladies are digging around trying to find and preserve the history. And that history within Alabama is just fading away so quickly.
It is.
And I just, my hat's off to these people. They are just, busting their butt, time and energy and a greater education in order to do that. And, when people go into an area, and of course, what I'm talking about, and start destroying things like that, the ability, to make their job a whole lot harder than it should be to restore our history here in Alabama. And,
right.
That just kind of gets me in the heart, so to speak. And when we were there at the cemetery last weekend, and I had seen, some of the damage and stuff from vandals and so on and so forth, that was heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
And, yep.
It really was. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to move on to Mr. Frankie and Trish. Guys, are you there?
Yep, we're here.
We're here.
Awesome. All right. Well, Frankie, I'm going to start with you, brother. I'm kind of going to bounce back to a question that I asked Nathan. Well, first off, tell us how long you've been doing Cahaba with Nathan. Did you start with him at the same time, or did you come in later?
We've been helping Nathan for about now.
Okay, well that's cool. So, when you first went to Cahaba, what was your first experience when you first went there? I mean, was it a good energy, or how did you perceive Cahaba when you first got there?
Pretty much, there wasn't really anything there that really bothered me.
So
it was good. It was,
So that was it's kind of like me when I went in. It was just that whole giddy, excited feeling, kind of like a kid when they go to the fair or something. That's kind of the way it was with me. So when you went into Cahaba, did you just like go look around or beforehand, or did y'all just get right down to business when you got there? I know you investigated over there. So what was one of the first places that you investigated?
Well, the first year that we done it, we kind of helped Nathan and Clara out. The next year we were going to go and going to investigate on either Friday, but having kids in school with ball games going on, you can't exactly do that because it started playoff season then. Right. And then this year we just went down on the first Saturday of the event, and we helped with it. And then we come back on Friday and that Friday on the 26th was the first time that we actually investigated Old Cahaba.
So what did you think of your investigation at that time?
It was pretty kind of like everybody else. I like the new cemetery. What was the well? The well that was there?
Green well.
Green well.
Yeah. Went there. That was cool. There was a lot of different places, but I'm kind of a little bit like Nathan. I'm kind of one of those that, history's something that, that interests me more than anything. So it's kind of like, almost like, you might as well say like one of the places as far as to investigate was old, and I can mark that off my list.
That was one of your places on your bucket list, huh?
One of my bucket list things was Old Cahaba.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that place is awesome. So with the event that occurred, and of course, you were there for both weekends. We were only able to come in there at the end because we had a previous investigation the week before. So how did you like the crowds that come? I mean, was that a good experience for you, or was there a lot of people that came?
There was a lot of people that came, and the sizes of each crowd varied. It may be 30, it may be 40, maybe the crowd really didn't bother me at all. The first Saturday, myself and Trish we were upstairs, and Nathan and Clara was downstairs. And the next weekend we kind of swapped it around, and y'all were upstairs, and then another group was in the other upstairs part. And I kind of stayed down with Nathan, and we worked that way. As far as the ones out of the crowds that really get me, that gets me, I want to laugh, is the kids that come in.
Right.
Because the kids get into it more than the adults do.
I have to agree with you.
I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, we had a lot of kids when they came upstairs. on the second weekend, that they were like, okay, can I hold the K2? And
Yeah.
you don't really expect that from a little kid growing up. Well, sure, here you can hold the K2. And when they first started getting responses and stuff like that, it looked like it was Christmas Day. I mean, the looks on their faces and that type of thing, and that is in fact a wonderful thing to watch.
Yep. When we
Clara
first
and I
started
actually
it,
had a little
we
girl come to
noticed.
us and ask us where she could find some paranormal equipment. Her mother wanted to get her into investigating because she was very interested and she was very gifted, and she wanted to know where she could order paranormal equipment. So Clara told her some websites to go to. Her name was Stella. She introduced herself. Her name was Stella.
Well, that's cool. I mean, this world needs some good paranormal investigators, and I figure that if a child is interested in it, they may pursue it in a different manner than an adult, and in the long run, they may actually become a better paranormal investigator than you would think. So I have a granddaughter that's interested in it as well. And of course, we kind of shade her away from things that we think that are negative and that type of thing, because there's a lot of good that comes out of paranormal investigations. The fact that you help people, help organizations like we helped at Cahaba and that type of thing. And, my grandkids, and I guess because we've influenced them, being around them and stuff like that, they're all the time asking me questions, hey, Pawpaw, what happens to this spirit, or, this and this and this. And I think that's very healthy. So that's a good thing.
Not only that, Stan, we have to train a new generation, or eventually we're going to get to the point where we don't do it anymore and it would die off. But kids are more susceptible to entities and those phenomena that they may be able to figure out something that we've not thought of in previous investigations and in previous, classes and in previous, scientific experiments. They may, in their technology generation, they may be able to come up with something as long as they get started now and understand the basics of everything going forward. They may be able to determine something and have that definitive proof that we're all looking for.
I agree, 100%. So, Trish, this lady, she had been to Cahaba before with her kids, or is this her first experience there?
No, it was her first time there. And her little girl was so excited, and she hugged me, and she was so sweet. But she was just very excited, and she's always been interested, so we just kind of helped her out a little bit.
Well, that's cool. So, Trish, your experiences at Old Cahaba, have they been a positive thing? I'm talking about as far as the paranormal goes. I know, some of the crowds and things like that, the experiences we've had there, but the physical paranormal within Cahaba, have you had any experiences with that?
I have. I've had very positive experiences. I've had a little bit of negative in the slave cemetery, but walking through the slave cemetery, it's like I've almost connected with. There's one area that I'm drawn to, and it's like I go there every time that we go through there, and it's very positive, very, very positive. But the slave cemetery is my favorite place there. That's just where the place I like to go the most, cemetery.
Cool. Now, Trish, are you sensitive like Clara?
Very, very. And I have been as a child. I started as a child.
Wow.
And my daughter's the same way.
Frankie, are you sensitive in any way?
Not that I know of. I just know